What if you took a $40 watch but decided to make it premium? Watches are seriously so cool, but they can also be incredibly expensive. Casio has always been one of my favorite watch bands because they're incredibly attainable while still being great timepieces. The Casio AE-1200 or Casio Royal is one of the most modded watches out there, and I wanted to take a personal stab at leveling it up myself. But I'm also on a budget, so I wanted to keep everything below $100, and with the Casio AE-1200 already costing $40 itself, I only had $60 to be able to level up the quality of the watch. There are a lot of budget-friendly ways to improve the Casio AE-1200, but the three that I'm going to be tackling are the faceplate, the housing, and the band. Nothing is necessarily wrong with any of them, but I think they can give us some good potential to level up both the look and the overall material quality of the watch. For the faceplate, I wanted to just make it cleaner by simplifying the shape and removing the text. I worked off an existing Casio Royal faceplate model online, and then just made a few adjustments, like cutting out the layers here and making a lot of the edges more curved rather than sharp. Luckily, I own a 3D printer, so this model was completely free for me outside of the minimal cost of filament. And if you'd like to check out the faceplate model that I worked off of, I'll make sure to link it down below. I wanted to make the faceplate completely flat, but this turned out to be way harder than I expected. Since I was working off a filament printer and this piece is so small, I kept ending up with these lines despite the fact that I was printing on a smooth faceplate. I'm still new to 3D printing, but fortunately it was a low filament cost each time I failed. After adjusting a ton of print settings, I did eventually get something which I was pretty proud of and smooth enough for me. The next component was the housing. I liked the bronze look of the original, but it's not actually metal, it's just resin with a metallic looking finish. The only truly metal part of this AE-1200 is the stainless steel blacking plate. This makes the whole watch feel super light. So I bought a full metal version off of AliExpress for 40 bucks, and this was the most expensive part of the mod, but in my opinion, it's so worth it. To install, all I had to do was unscrew these 4 screws, which was simple enough, but the last screw was actually really stubborn. It took me a minute to get out. Then I was able to pop out the module, and since I'm going to be replacing the faceplate as well, I could just leave it inside the old housing. Then I just took the new faceplate, put it in the new housing, and while I installed the module in the new housing, consider hitting that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the video. It helps the channel out a ton. Thanks. If you're doing this yourself, just make sure that as you're reinstalling the module, that all the buttons are aligned correctly and functioning before you try to screw on the backplate. I thought I had all of them in the right place initially, but 2 of the buttons weren't functioning, and it's because I hadn't aligned the button pins. But 4 screw laters, and you're all set. I seriously can't express how much a difference the weight of the metal housing makes when it's on your wrist. It just feels so much more premium. This is already looking cool, but with my remaining 20 bucks, I decided to upgrade the band. The black resin isn't bad. In fact, I actually think I might put it back on for certain occasions, but I'm going to swap it out with a leather one that I purchased from Amazon. The AE-1200 has a lug length of 18 millimeters, so if you find another band that has that same lug length, it'll likely be compatible. And again, super simple to install. And just like that, we've got this. I'm honestly so happy with how this turned out, and all for under 100 bucks. Thank you all for watching, friends, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.